The cantina on Station Delta 9 was a popular spot for travelers from all corners of the galaxy. It was a dimly lit, bustling hub where species of all shapes and sizes mingled, drank, and occasionally let their frustrations get the better of them. Tonight was no different. The air was thick with the hum of various conversations, laughter, and the clinking of glasses. At one end of the bar, a group of aliens from the Galactic Union sat around a table, watching with curiosity as a small group of humans, Deathworlders, as they were called, laughed and drank nearby. To the Galactic Union, humans were a subject of both fascination and confusion. They hailed from Earth, a planet classified as a death world due to its harsh environments, dangerous predators, and relentless weather patterns, and yet, humans thrived there. The Galactic Union had learned early on not to underestimate Deathworlders. They were resourceful, adaptable, and surprisingly resilient for a species so physically fragile compared to other races. Still, many considered their aggression and unpredictable behavior to be one of their most dangerous traits. At the table, Kalrak, a towering elatic with leathery skin and 6 eyes, sipped his drink through his proboscis, eyeing the humans cautiously. "They seem harmless enough," Kalrak rumbled, his voice deep and gravelly. Sirik, a Zultranian with delicate, insectoid wings, clicked his mandibles nervously. "That's what they want you to think. Humans have a reputation for violence. I've heard stories of entire squads being wiped out by just a few of them in combat." Kalrak chuckled. "Exaggeration. No doubt they're tough, but look at them. They're laughing, drinking, and one of them is barely standing, hardly the image of a threat." But Sirik's antennae twitched in agitation. He wasn't so sure. "Watch closely. You never know with Deathworlders." As the aliens observed, the humans continued their celebration. It was clear they were friends, sharing stories, clinking glasses, and taking turns at a holographic darts game. But it wasn't long before the atmosphere shifted. One of the humans, a tall man with a shaved head and a muscular build, accidentally bumped into a Skalnorian at the bar, a hulking brute with scaly skin and arms as thick as tree trunks. The Skalnorian turned, his red eyes glaring down at the human, his lips curled into a snarl. "Watch where you're going, Deathworlder," he growled, his deep voice filled with menace. The human Drake, as his friends called him, raised his hands in a gesture of apology. "Hey, sorry about that, didn't mean to bump into you." But the Skalnorian wasn't interested in apologies. He loomed over Drake, his massive frame casting a shadow over the human. "You Deathworlders think you're tough, don't you? I could crush you right now." Drake's friends immediately noticed the tension and started to rise from their seats, but Drake waved them off. "I don't want any trouble, man, just trying to enjoy the night." The Skalnorian sneered, shoving Drake back. "Weak, all talk, no strength. You Deathworlders think you're the toughest in the galaxy, but you're just fragile little beings hiding behind your tech and numbers." Kalrak and Sirik exchanged uneasy glances. The entire cantina had gone quiet, eyes drawn to the confrontation at the bar. This was the moment Sirik had warned about, an unpredictable encounter with a Deathworlder. Drake sighed and adjusted his stance, but still made no move to escalate the situation. "I don't want to fight," he said evenly, "but if you keep pushing, you're not going to like what happens next." The Skalnorian laughed, a deep, rumbling sound that shook the glasses on the bar. "Oh, really? And what are you going to do, little human?" Without warning, the Skalnorian swung a massive fist at Drake. The blow would have crushed a lesser species, but Drake sidestepped it with incredible speed, causing the Skalnorian to stumble forward. Before the alien could recover, Drake delivered a single, precise punch to the side of his ribs, a weak point in the Skalnorian's otherwise tough exoskeleton. The Skalnorian roared in pain, his massive body crashing into a table, sending drinks and chairs flying. For a brief moment, it seemed the fight would end there, but the Skalnorian, enraged and humiliated, rose again, his fists swinging wildly. Drake's friends stood, ready to intervene, but he raised a hand. "Stay out of it, this one's mine." The Skalnorian charged again, but this time Drake was ready. With a series of fluid movements, he dodged each of the Skalnorian's clumsy swings, delivering swift, calculated strikes to the alien's joints and pressure points. What should have been a one-sided brawl in favor of the massive alien quickly turned into a masterclass of human adaptability and combat prowess. Kalrak watched in awe, his 6 eyes wide with disbelief. How is he doing that?" Sirik clicked his mandibles nervously. "This is what I was talking about. Humans, Deathworlders, they're built for conflict. They can take hits, learn their opponent's weaknesses, and adapt faster than most species can react. Within moments, the Skalnorian, despite his superior size and strength, was on the ground, gasping for breath. Drake stepped back, wiping a small trickle of blood from the corner of his mouth. "I told you," he said, his voice calm, "you wouldn't like the outcome." As the Skalnorian groaned in defeat, Drake's friends finally stepped forward, helping their companion back to the bar. The tension in the cantina slowly began to dissipate, but the eyes of every alien in the room remained fixed on the humans. Drake took a swig of his drink and turned back to his friends. "All right, where were we?" Kolrek sat in stunned silence, his drink forgotten in his hand. I've never seen anything like that." He took down a Skalnorian without breaking a sweat. Sirik nodded, his antennae trembling. "That's what makes them dangerous. Deathworlders, they live on a planet that tries to kill them every day. It's not just their strength or their technology, it's their instinct, their ability to survive, and their willingness to fight when cornered." The rest of the cantina slowly returned to its usual hum of activity, but for Kolrek and the others who had witnessed the fight, a new respect and fear was born. The legends of Deathworlders, once thought to be exaggerated tales, suddenly seemed all too real. From that day on, stories of the bar fight spread throughout the galaxy. To the Galactic Union, it was a cautionary tale: never underestimate a Deathworlder. You never knew what they were capable of even in something as seemingly trivial as a bar fight. And for the first time, many species began to understand why the humans were feared. The aftermath of the bar fight on Station Delta 9 rippled through the galaxy faster than even the most advanced communication networks. Aliens from every corner of the Galactic Union heard of the human, Drake, and his swift victory over the Skalnorian. Some dismissed it as exaggerated tavern gossip, while others took the tale more seriously. But for those who had been present, including Kolrek and Sirik, there was no denying what they had witnessed. It wasn't just Drake's victory that left an impression. It was the ease with which he had done it, the calm control, and the absence of malice in his actions. He hadn't fought out of rage or pride, he had simply defended himself with the efficiency of a trained predator. The aftershock. The next day, Station Delta 9 resumed its regular business. Cargo ships arrived and departed, traders negotiated prices in the bustling markets, and travelers moved between star systems. However, the mood had shifted. Among the alien populations, whispers about the humans spread like wildfire. Kolrek and Sirik, who had front-row seats to the previous night's spectacle, couldn't shake the feeling that something larger was at play. They sat together in a quiet corner of the cantina, nursing their drinks while their minds churned with a mixture of curiosity and anxiety. They were supposed to be just another species, Kolrek muttered, his leathery skin wrinkling as his face twisted in confusion. Another race climbing the ladder of galactic civilization. "But they're not, are they?" Sirik replied, his mandibles clicking nervously. "Deathworlders, there's something else. What Drake did wasn't just brute strength. It was," he hesitated, struggling to find the right words. "It was instinctual, precise, the kind of control and awareness that only comes from surviving on a world that wants to kill you every day." As they sat in silence, their thoughts were interrupted by a new voice. "They don't just survive," the voice said, "they thrive." Kolrek and Sirik turned to see a figure standing by their table. It was a Krellian, a thin, wiry species known for their sharp intellect and cunning. The Krellian's name was Draylon, a trader who had a reputation for dealing in sensitive information, someone who always seemed to know more than anyone else. "They thrive on chaos," Draylon continued, sliding into the seat next to them. "I've traveled to human space, I've seen their colonies. Their worlds aren't just dangerous, they're unpredictable. Earthquakes, hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, deadly wildlife, you name it. And instead of fearing these things, humans find a way to turn them into advantages." Kolrek raised a skeptical brow. "You're telling me that humans like chaos?" Draylon chuckled. "Not exactly, but they're better at dealing with it than most species. They've evolved to be resilient, adaptable, and quick-thinking. That's why the Skalnorian lost so easily. He was relying on brute strength, the kind that wins fights 9 times out of 10. But Drake didn't rely on strength alone. He read his opponent, adapted, and struck where it hurt the most. Sirik's wings fluttered nervously. "That's what worries me. If humans can do that on a small scale, what happens when they're part of something bigger? The Galactic Union keeps tabs on Deathworlders, sure, but we don't fully understand them. That's the problem, Draylen said, lowering his voice. The Galactic Union has underestimated them from the start, and now, they're starting to realize just how dangerous humans can be. Eyes on humanity. As the days passed, more and more aliens on Station Delta 9 began to avoid the humans. Where curiosity once drew other species to interact with them, now there was a palpable tension. The tale of Drake's bar fight wasn't just an isolated incident, it had become the foundation of a new fear. The whispers grew louder, and soon, even the station's officials took notice. Not long after the fight, the station's Security Council convened to discuss what had happened. They were composed of representatives from various species, each with their own thoughts and biases. At the head of the council sat Governor Zelorn, a Zarathian known for his cautious diplomacy. The events of the past few days have caused unrest among the station's inhabitants. Governor Zelorn began, his voice measured. It is clear that the human, Drake, acted in self-defense, but the aftermath of that altercation has revealed something troubling. The presence of humans, even in small numbers, seems to be stirring fear among our citizens. We need to address this before it becomes a bigger issue. One of the council members, a tall and slender Venkarian named Nira, spoke up. The problem is that they're Deathworlders. They're unpredictable. If one human can defeat a Skalnorian so easily, what happens when larger numbers of them are involved? We cannot allow chaos to spread on this station. Another council member, a gruff Utrani named Threx, scoffed. So what? They're good in a fight. That doesn't mean they're a danger to us. The Skalnorian started it, and the human finished it. End of story. Governor Zelorn frowned. Perhaps, but the fear among our citizens is real. The question is, how do we handle this? We cannot simply ban humans from the station. That would provoke unnecessary conflict. Silence fell over the council as they pondered their options. In the end, Zelorn made his decision. Humans will not be banned from Station Delta 9, he declared, but we will increase security around their activities. We must monitor their behavior closely. If there is another incident, we will take appropriate action. The unseen threat. Drake and his companions had no idea that their bar fight had sparked such a reaction. To them, it had been just another night, one where things had gotten a bit out of hand, but nothing too serious. They continued to go about their business, completely unaware of the growing wariness around them. But the other species on the station couldn't forget what they had seen. The humans became the subject of countless rumors, stories of Deathworlders taking down entire battalions, of humans surviving impossible odds, and of their ability to adapt to any environment. The more the rumors spread, the more the fear grew. It wasn't long before other stations began to take notice. Reports of the bar fight on Station Delta 9 circulated through the Galactic Union's network, reaching distant systems and even the highest levels of leadership. On the distant capital world of Zelthan Prime, the Galactic Council convened to discuss the implications. They are dangerous, a representative from the Rylothian delegation said firmly. We've all heard the stories. If this is how they act in a simple bar fight, what will happen if we face them in open conflict? We must consider containment. Containment? Another counselor scoffed. You suggest we preemptively act against a species simply because they can defend themselves? The debate raged for hours, but beneath the surface, the same fear lingered, the realization that the humans, these Deathworlders, were far more formidable than the Union had anticipated. A galaxy on edge. As the rumors and fears surrounding humans spread, tensions began to rise across multiple star systems. Species that had once welcomed humans with open arms now viewed them with suspicion. Spaceports and stations that were once bustling with human travelers now saw them as potential threats. Back on Station Delta 9, Drake and his crew noticed the shift. It was subtle at first, people avoiding eye contact, giving them a wide berth in the corridors, but it quickly escalated. They were subjected to increased scrutiny from station security, and there were fewer friendly interactions. One evening, as they gathered in the cantina once more, Drake leaned back in his chair, his eyes scanning the room. You guys notice it, too? His friend, Marcus, nodded. Yeah, we're not exactly popular anymore. Emily, one of the crew's tech specialists, sighed. It's the fight. Word spread, and now everyone's afraid we're going to snap and start breaking bones. They should be more afraid of starting trouble with us, Marcus grumbled. Drake shook his head. It's not about fear, it's about misunderstanding. We're Deathworlders, survivors by nature. They don't get it. As the group continued their conversation, An uneasy thought settled over them: the galaxy was on edge, and while the bar fight had been a small incident, it had sparked something much larger. The aliens had learned to fear humanity not because of their weapons or technology, but because of what lay beneath: a will to survive, an ability to adapt, and a strength that came from enduring a world built to kill them. And now, the galaxy trembled at the thought of what might happen next.